This country, every day we're spending more and more money. None of us are getting ahead. I'm tired of struggling. I've done everything I can. I'm trying to be a good man. I take care of my daughter.
MAGA voters are in tears, and I'm honestly feeling sad for them. Not really. They kind of deserved it, if you think about it. Now, why are they crying? So they are crying over Trump's broken promises to reduce down the prices of groceries, such as a tray of eggs, which costs more now than it used to. And they are crying over the inflation, the costs of houses. Honestly, let me just say the cost of living. And there are also rumors that the tariffs that China imposed on the land of the free has just hit the country. So a lot of prices are going to go up and are likely to continue doing that. So in today's video, we're going to talk about inflation, what it is, and what it means for people. So if you have any thoughts, any ideas on what we can do, feel free to bring them on the table and let's have this discussion.
This country, every day we're spending more and more money. None of us are getting ahead. I'm tired of struggling. I've done everything I can. I'm trying to be a good man. I take care of my daughter. I take care of my wife the best I can. I can't keep going. Every day it's something new. And then on top of that, as if you're not trying to spend money, you have to. It's expensive. I own a painting company. I still can't make it. I'm trying, man. I can't look at my daughter and my wife and know I'm failing. I'm finally done.
You said the most expensive thing in America is to be poor.
Yeah, it costs more. Gas costs more. Insurance costs more.
Yeah.
You never get the full value of your home. You never, groceries are more expensive. It's so expensive in America to be poor that nobody can afford to do it. And what we always have done is co-opted the language of the poor. Everybody has a poor story. Everybody has a poor story. My father came here and he didn't speak English and he made a success of himself. Or I came from the mud, or, everybody has a story because we want to be connected to a beginning, but no one wants to do anything to change that reality for anybody else. No one.
So I used to buy into the whole American dream, work hard and, you could have whatever you want. So I became a lawyer. And it wasn't until then that I got it. This American dream, it's a cultic way of getting people to be on your side. Imagine a nation that actually woke up and saw what was going on. Imagine if they thought, hey, you know what? Why don't we have universal health care? Why are there so many people done? Why are we in thousands of dollars, the nation, and trillions of dollars in student debt? But no, for some reason, this capitalist society has cultivated people's mind to think that, you know what, work harder. You want affordable health care? You want affordable housing? Work harder. So why is that? Why don't Americans wake up and realize this is all bullshit? It's truly a nation for the people, by the people who have spoken. Why isn't there any change?
Please stay for this, because I've reached the part in this whole class consciousness part where I'm just filled with the most impotent rage. And I'm talking that white hot, I need to sink my teeth into something and scream. kind of rage. Because what do you mean that it never had to be this hard for us? Like, what do you mean in other countries they don't have to spend 20% of their paycheck on groceries? What do you mean in other countries everyone can own homes because they're not paying $2,000 a month in rent, or that their mortgages aren't like their entire paycheck? What do you mean that people in China work one job and they don't even work 40 hours and they can easily afford their life? And then I'm over here working 60 hours a week, just me as a single parent, to like barely make ends meet. And I'm penny pinching every single second. And like, there's so much of life that my kid misses out on and that I miss out on because of money and like work and no social support net. And you mean to tell me that it didn't have to be like this? They keep us in these chains on purpose, and it never had to be like this. Like, I did everything right. I went to college. I had to drop out of college to take care of my mom when she was sick because, again, no social services, like, no safety nets. My dad worked his whole life and did everything to my mom. My mom was disabled, and she lived on credit, and, like, she barely made ends meet, and she did everything she was supposed to. And I did everything I was supposed to, and it just keeps getting worse. It was never supposed to be like this. And I'm so angry that it is. Because what do you mean? I've spent so much of my life working so hard to scrape by. And it never had to be like that. My suffering was at the expense of someone else becoming wealthy because they could. And I am so angry about this. It can't stay like this. It doesn't have to stay like this.
For those of you that don't understand how truly awful the US has become, I'm going to put it into perspective for you. I saw my aunt yesterday and she told me a story that absolutely blew my mind. And it's really hard to tell me a story about the evil that America is right now that surprises me. But this surprised me. It's on another level. So my aunt is a realtor, and she had a client in the past that she sold a second farm to. He is a farmer, and he raises cattle, making an honest living, and so his original farm wasn't big enough for all of his cattle, so he had to get a second farm. And then his wife got pregnant, and then a medical emergency happened. So basically, the baby was born extremely prematurely, and the wife almost died, but that's a separate issue. And so I want you to guess. I want you to formulate a number in your head about how much you think it cost for that baby to be in the hospital for 4 months because it was a premature baby. Take a minute, think about it. $900,000. Almost $1 million. What small-time, small business owner, farmer has $1 million? So now he has to sell his second farm, he has to sell some of those cattle, and for what? So his baby could survive America, right? So pro-life, huh?
Next 12 to 18 months will be the final nail in the coffin of the middle class. The reality is, if you're waiting for interest rates to drop, they're not going to happen this year. And if they do one cut towards the end of the year, that's just political. And most likely, interest rates will continue to go up next year. You see, here's the thing. There's no longer such a thing as affordable. Nothing is going to be affordable, especially houses. I've said it before, I'll say it again. If you cannot afford a house today, you're never going to be able to afford it tomorrow. And many people will tell you that after a period of increased interest rates, it's usually followed by a recession. But generally, during a recession, usually people lose a lot of jobs. And for those that tell me to follow the numbers, I would just like to remind you that 300,000 jobs created is not the same as 300,000 jobs filled. By the time home prices come down and that recession hits, you're not going to have any money to even buy a house.
Honestly, I'm feeling sad for that man that I saw in the first video. He dropped honest tears. Now, I have seen a lot of people saying that they don't feel so sorry for MAGA voters because honestly, they feel like this is just content that these MAGA voters are creating just, maybe to just earn a living. Because as much as, yes, this is reality, but some people are just crying on TikTok because it's going to help them get more views. Like I know. So inflation is high, prices of groceries are high, but in the middle of all this, people have become opportunists. And what that means is they're easily able to spot business ideas, such as a TikTok trend, such as, you know what I mean. So people are saying that these are not genuine tears and we should not feel sorry for MAGA voters because honestly, they voted for Trump back into office and Trump promised to fulfill what he is fulfilling right now. And why should people cry over trays and prices of groceries not going down when things are not easy? Like it's very hard for you to just bring down the price of something, and promises are just promises. Now, I know that he's a billionaire and people maybe expected him to invest in the market and just make things go down, but that's not going to happen. Now, let's get to inflation. What it is, what it means for the citizens, and let's try to find some alternatives on how to survive. So when inflation is on the rise, it's more expensive to buy goods and services. So basically when there's an inflation, things become expensive. But the effects of inflation don't stop with higher prices pinching shoppers' wallets. So we're going to look at 7 effects or impacts of inflation on the citizens and what they mean, like how they look like when there's an inflation. Lost purchasing power. So what does this mean? So inflation reduces the value of your money. So you can't buy less with the same amount of money than you could before. That's plain and clear, right? So you don't buy as much as you used to before when there's an inflation in the same amount. So what this means for you as a citizen is your everyday expenses like groceries, gas, and utilities will cost more. If your income doesn't increase at the same rate as prices, you will find it harder to afford the same lifestyle because your income is the same. So this especially is tough for people on fixed incomes like retirees. So that's the reason why we are seeing a lot of veterans getting on social media like that palm color MAGA voter. Now the second impact is interest rates increase. So what does this mean? So to control inflation, the central bank, like the Fed in the land of the free, raises interest rates, making borrowing money more expensive. So as a citizen, what does this look like for you? So loans for homes, cars, or credit cards will cost more. If you have a variable rate loan, like some mortgages or credit cards, your payments will go up. Saving money might earn you more interest, but borrowing will become more costly. That's clear, right? Let's go to the third impact. The third impact I have for you is higher home values. What this means is inflation can drive up the prices of homes because the cost of building materials, labor increases, right? So building materials and labor, the prices of those, they increase during an inflation. So if you own a home, its value might go up. This is going to benefit you when you sell it. But if you're looking to buy a home, it'll be more expensive and harder for you to afford it. That's clear. Now, the fourth impact is home equity grows more quickly. And this means that home equity is the portion of your home that you truly own, the home's value minus what you owe on the mortgage. So inflation can increase home values, boosting your equity. Now, for a citizen, if you own a home, your equity will grow faster, which is beneficial if you want to sell it or borrow against your home. However, this doesn't help you when you're trying to buy a home. So it's kind of like similar to the other third reason that we saw. Now, the fifth impact is consumer prices go up. So prices such as everyday goods and services, these increase, such as the prices of eggs. You will pay more for basics like food, clothing, and energy, right, as we've discussed. So this is another reason or economic impact. The other one is the economy slows down. So high inflation often leads to tighter monetary policy, which reduces the amount of money circulating in the economy. So for a citizen, it means that it will become harder to get loans, and businesses might cut back on hiring or investments. Now, this can lead to slower economic growth and potentially fewer job opportunities, such as we're seeing right now. And the last impact on the list is anti-inflationary measures can cause a recession. So efforts to control inflation, like raising interest rates, can slow the economy too much, leading to a recession. Now, what is a recession? And what happens during a recession? So during a recession, you might face job losses, reduced income, and a tougher economic environment. The central bank might try to lower interest rates to stimulate the economy, but recovery can take time. And before we close, I just want to suggest some ideas that might help people to strive, I guess. Being creative and seeking new business or entrepreneurship ideas, this can help people during such times. Because when you are creative, you can cut down on some of those things that were costing you more on your budget, such as bad habits. You can just find a creative way of dealing with you maybe drinking too much of a certain item or eating too much of a certain food that doesn't benefit you. You can just cut down on that, as well as just trying to find new business ideas and experimenting with some things that you thought could bring money on your table. I think during such a time, this can be very helpful. And I think investing in skills, such as maybe teaching a course, maybe designing an art, those skills can also elevate your income stream. Because right now, to be able to deal with this recession, especially when the recession hits, because right now it's just the inflation, right? But when the recession hits, for you to be able to deal with that, you need multiple streams of income. So these points that I've listed can help you. And the other point is you renegotiating your salary with your boss. That can also help you. And you can only look at those alternatives I've mentioned in the case of when they say, nah, we can't give you a raise right now. But if there's a way of you renegotiating with your employers, that can also be helpful. All right. So that's the reason why a lot of MAGA voters, Trumpers, they are crying over the prices of things just going up, because the inflation is high and this has affected the prices of goods and services. That means the prices of goods and services have gone high as well. And if you're on the same income as last year or the years in the past, it's going to become costly for you to just continue living the same lifestyle you used to live. That's the reason why that man cried. And in the midst of you having a little bundle of joy, you might find yourself spending more on nappies, clothes, and those little things that babies require. And in the case of an emergency, a medical one, seeking treatment might become very expensive as well. So I think this summarizes our discussion and some of the reasons as to why a lot of MAGA voters or people on low incomes right now are getting it the hardest. With that being said, I'll see you in the next video. Leave your thoughts in the comment section and like, share, and subscribe.